Then let's see, that is the lacrimal apparatus. So this one. So the structure, it is concerned with the secretion and the drainage of the lacrimal fluid together to form the lacrimal apparatus. So the lacrimal apparatus, that should be consist of, first, that is the lacrimal gland, then the lacrimal ducts, then the conjunctival sac, this one, then the lacrimal puncti, so here these two, then next to it, that is the lacrimal canaliculi, so this one, these two, then the lacrimal sac, this is, and the nasolacrimal duct. So this structure, that should be included in the lacrimal apparatus. So let's see, first, that is the lacrimal gland. So lacrimal gland, it is a J-shaped serous gland, consists of the upper large orbital part and the lower palpebral part. The two parts are continuous with each other around the lateral margin of the levator palpebrae superioris muscle. So here you can see, that is the levator palpebrae superioris, and this is the orbital part, first, and second one, that is the palpebral part, this one. Then the orbital part, it is the almond shape and situated in the lacrimal fossa, and the palpebral part, it is a 1/3 of the size of the orbital part, and it is situated lateral part of the upper eyelid, below to that the levator palpebrae superioris muscle. Then the duct of the lacrimal gland, so these are. So the ducts of the lacrimal gland are approximately near about 10 to 12 in numbers, and about 4 or 5 from the orbital part and 6 to 8 from the palpebral part, and they open in the lateral part of superior fornix of the conjunctival sac. So that is the superior fornix. Then the lacrimal gland, it secrete the lacrimal fluid, that is called the tears, and its duct are convey this fluid into that the conjunctival sac. About 1 ml of the lacrimal fluid is secreted per day, and half of evaporate, and remaining half, it is drained into that the lacrimal sac. Then the function of the lacrimal fluid, that is, it flushes the conjunctiva and keeps the cornea moist. Second one, it provides the nourishment to that the cornea. Then it serves to express the emotions, that is shedding of tears during the grief or the sorrow. Then it prevents the infection for the contents of bacterial from, that is, the conjunctiva to the inner part of the eye. Then the accessory lacrimal gland. So these are very small serous gland which is located beneath the palpebral conjunctiva near the fornix. Then they are about 35 to 40 in upper eyelid and 6 to 8 into that the lower eyelid. Then next to it, that is the conjunctival sac. So this one. So it is the potential space present between the palpebral conjunctiva and the bulbar conjunctiva. So this one. Then the lacrimal puncti. So these two. So these are the small openings on the upper and the lower lid margin of the lid. Then at the junction of these, there is the small conical projection called the lacrimal papillae. So these two, which is surrounded by a tiny aperture called the lacrimal punctum. So this one, that is the lacrimal punctum. The lacrimal papillae faces inward towards the lacus lacrimalis. Then the lacrimal canaliculi. So this one, that is the two duct-like structure. So these are the two lacrimal canaliculi, superior and the inferior, in upper and the lower eyelid respectively. So each canaliculi measures about 10 mm in length and begins at the lacrimal punctum. The superior canaliculus at first run upwards and then bends downwards and medially it along the free margin of the eyelid and open into that the lacrimal sac. So this one. Then the inferior canaliculi, it first run downwards and then bends upward and medially and open into the lacrimal sac. Then next to it, that is the lacrimal sac. So this one. So it is a upper dilated end of the nasolacrimal duct. It is situated deep to the lacrimal groove bounded by the posterior lacrimal crest. The anterior lacrimal crest of the frontal process of the maxilla. Then the nasolacrimal duct. So it is the membranous passage 18 mm long and it begins at the lower end of the lacrimal sac, runs downwards, backwards and laterally and open into the inferior meatus of the nose, a fold of the mucous membrane called the wall of Hassner. So here, from the imperfect wall at the lower end of that the duct. So these are the structure which is included into the lacrimal apparatus. After then, let's see that is the clinical points related with that the lacrimal apparatus. So first, that is the dacrocystitis. So dacrocystitis means that is the inflammation of the lacrimal sac. Then the dacrocystectomy. So whenever infection and the inflammation, it should be occurs, that is the removal of the lacrimal apparatus, it should be done. So that is called the dacrocystectomy. And after dacrocystectomy, as that is the lacrimal apparatus is removed, so the fluid or the lacrimal fluid which is situated into that the fornix of the eyeball, so it should be droop out from the eye, that is not enters into that the nose. The next clinical point, the removal of entire lacrimal gland does not lead to the dryness of conjunctiva because it is kept moist by the secretion of the accessory lacrimal glands. Then the next clinical point related with that the lacrimal gland, that is the epiphora. So the excessive secretion of the lacrimal gland overflowing on the cheeks, that is due to the obstruction of the lacrimal fluid pathway. So that is called the epiphora. The next clinical point, that is the ectropion. So ectropion is due to the eversion of the lower lacrimal punctum. So here you can see it is usually occurs in the old age due to laxity of the skin. So these are the clinical points which is related with the eyelid, conjunctiva and the lacrimal apparatus. So let's see the eyelids. So eyelids, they are upper and lower and are movable contents which protect the eye from the foreign bodies and the bright light. They keep the corners clear and the moist. The upper eyelid, it is larger than and more movable than the lower eyelid. The space which is present between the eyelid is palpebral fissure. The two eyelids are fused with each other, form a medial side and the lateral side. So that is called the medial canthi or medial angle, and that is called the lateral canthi or lateral angle. At the inner canthi or the medial canthi, there is a small triangular space. So this one, it is called the lacus lacrimalis. Within it there is the elevation called the lacrimal caruncle. So this one, which is made from the modified skin and modified gland. Then lateral to that the coracle, a bulbar conjunctiva forming a pinch upwards and form a vertical fold. So this one, it is called the plica simulinaris. Then each eyelid it is attached to the margin of orbital opacity. The free edge is broad and has a rounded outer lip and the sharp inner lip. The outer lip present 2 to 3 rows of the eyelashes, except the boundary of locus lacrimalis. At the point where that is the eyelashes are absent, so that is forming the lacrimal papillae. So this one. Then on near to that the inner lip, a free edge, there is a rows of opening of the tarsus gland. Then the structure of the eyelid. So each eyelid it is made up of the skin, which is very much thin, loose and easily distensible and inflamed by the edema of the fluid or the blood. Then the superficial fascia is without fat, and the palpebral fascia of the two lids forming the orbital septum. Its thickening forms a tarsus plate. So here in the another diagram you can see that is the violet color. So that is called the tarsus plate, and this tarsus plate it is the upper tarsus plate and the lower tarsus plate, and it is attached, upper tarsus plate it is attached to that the palpebral ligament. The tarsals are a thin plate of condensed fibrous tissue. The upper tarsus it is attached with that the muscle levator palpebrae superioris. So this one. And then apart from that is the usual gland, that is the larger glands are present. So first that is the large sebaceous gland, that is also called the Zis gland, at the lid margin associated with that the cilia. This one. Then the modified sweat gland, or that is called the Mott's gland, at the lid margin closely associated with that the Zis gland. Then the sebaceous or the tarsus gland. So here that the opening is present. So that is the opening of the tarsus gland. So these are also known as the meibomian gland. So this gland that should be present into that the upper lid and the lower eyelid. Then the blood supply of the eyelid, that is the superior and inferior palpebral branch of ophthalmic artery and the lacrimal artery. Then the nerve supply, that is the upper eyelid to whole bulbar conjunctiva supplied by the supratrochlear and the supraorbital nerve, and the lower eyelid by the infraorbital nerve. Then the lymphatics, that is the medial halves drain in the submandibular lymph nodes, and the lateral halves that is drain into the preauricular lymph nodes. Then the venous drainage, the veins that should be drained into that the ophthalmic and the facial vein. After then let's see that is the conjunctiva. So conjunctiva, it is a thin transparent mucous membrane which lines the inner surface of the eyelid called the palpebral conjunctiva and the front of the sclera. It is called the bulbar conjunctiva. The potential space between the eyelid and the eyeball when the eye is closed, it is called the conjunctival sac. The lines of reflection between the palpebral and the bulbar conjunctiva above and below forming the superior fornix, this one, and the inferior fornix. Then the palpebral conjunctiva is highly vascular and firmly adherent to the tarsus plate. On the other hand, the bulbar conjunctiva, it is loose over the sclera but firmly adherent to that the cornea, forming the anterior epithelium, that is called the corneal epithelium. The conjunctiva consists of the mucus secreting gland. Then Next to it, that is the conjunctival sac filled with the three films of the fluid. That is, first water from the lacrimal gland, the mucus from the conjunctiva, and the oily secretion from the tarsus gland. Then the blinking movement of the eyelids makes these films moisten cornea and helps to drain the conjunctival fluid into the nasal cavity. So that is the conjunctiva. Then the clinical points related with the eyelids and the conjunctiva. So first point, that is the chalagen. So here this is the chalagen. It is the inflammation of the tarsus gland and it causes the localized swelling on the inner aspect of the eyelid. So that is called the chalagen. The next clinical point, that is the stye. So it is a suppurative inflammation of the Zis gland which is present into the eyelid. In this condition, that the gland is swollen, hard and painful, and the pus points near the base of the cilia. Hence it can be easily drained by plucking the cilia. So that is the stye. Then the blepharitis. So it is the inflammation of the eyelid, mostly involving the lid margin. So this is called the blepharitis. Then the examine the palpebral conjunctiva. So that is the examination of the palpebral conjunctiva. Physician help to diagnose the anemia, and the bulbar conjunctiva, that is help for the diagnosis of the jaundice. Then next to it, that is the inflammation of the conjunctiva, that is called the conjunctivitis, and that should be occurs due to the infection or the allergy is one of the commonest disease of the eye. The trichoma, it is a granular conjunctivitis caused by the trichoma virus, and it is very much contagious and considered as a commonest cause of the blindness in the India. So these are the two clinical points related with the conjunctiva.